Why do some of us thrive in relationships, while others feel like we're walking a tightrope, terrified of falling, yet unsure where we'd land? The answer to these questions may lie not in our current relationships, but in our very first ones. Welcome to The Life Pulse, a place where smart people come together to live wiser and better. Today, we're diving into one of psychology's most powerful and eye-opening theories, attachment theory. A framework that explains how the bonds we form in early childhood echo throughout our adult lives. Let's start at the beginning. In the mid-20th century, British psychoanalyst John Bowlby began to shift the conversation around child development. Until then, many psychologists believed that children bonded with their caregivers mainly because they provided food. But Bowlby noticed something deeper. Children weren't just attaching for survival, they were seeking comfort, security, and emotional closeness. He proposed something revolutionary, that human beings are biologically wired to form attachments, not just for nourishment but for emotional safety. We are, quite literally, designed to connect. Bowlby called this the attachment behavioral system, and according to him, its primary goal is to keep the infant close to the caregiver, especially in times of stress. Then came Mary Ainsworth, Bowlby's collaborator, who took these ideas and tested them in the real world. In the 1970s, she conducted a groundbreaking study known as the strange situation. She observed how babies reacted when their mothers left the room, and how they responded when they returned. And what she discovered changed psychology forever. At its core, attachment theory is about how we connect with others emotionally, especially the people we rely on. It starts in infancy, with our primary caregivers, but its influence doesn't stop there. Those early experiences become internal templates, or what Bowlby called internal working models. These models shape how we see ourselves, how we see others, and what we believe we deserve in relationships. Are people dependable? Am I worthy of love? Can I rely on others when I need help? We start answering these questions in our first year of life, and those answers often stay with us into adulthood, shaping how we love, how we fight, how we fear, and how we heal. But not everyone develops the same kind of attachment. In fact, there are 4 main attachment styles, each with its own emotional blueprint. Let's explore them one by one. First up, secure attachment. This is the gold standard of emotional bonding. People with a secure attachment style tend to feel comfortable with both closeness and independence. They're not afraid to trust others, and they're not overwhelmed by intimacy. In childhood, they had caregivers who were consistently responsive. When they cried, someone came. When they were scared, someone soothed them. They learned the world is a safe place and that people can be trusted. As adults, they tend to form healthier relationships. They communicate openly, resolve conflict constructively, and provide support without feeling smothered. But don't worry, if you don't identify as secure, you're not broken. Let's keep going. Anxious attachment. People with anxious attachment often feel like they love too hard, worry too much, and need more reassurance than others seem to require. In childhood, they may have experienced inconsistent caregiving. Sometimes their caregiver was present and loving, other times distracted or unavailable. This unpredictability creates a deep fear of abandonment. As adults, anxiously attached people often crave closeness, but fear it won't last. They may become preoccupied with their partner's actions, reading into silences, overanalyzing texts, or spiraling at the smallest sign of withdrawal. It's not that they love too much, it's that their nervous system is constantly scanning for signs of rejection. Sounds familiar? Now let's flip to the other side of the spectrum. Avoidant attachment. They're the ones who keep people at arm's length, avoid emotional vulnerability, and often downplay the importance of relationships. Now, where does this come from? Usually from caregivers who were emotionally distant or dismissive. These children learned that expressing needs didn't get results, so they stopped trying. They became self-sufficient, emotionally guarded, and sometimes even dismissive of others' feelings. In adulthood, avoidantly attached individuals may seem aloof or emotionally unavailable. But underneath that cool surface, there's often a deep fear of dependence and vulnerability. They don't reject connection because they don't want it. They reject it because it feels unsafe. The final category is the most complex: disorganized attachment. This style often develops in the context of trauma, abuse, or neglect, where the caregiver is also a source of fear. Imagine needing comfort from the very person who frightens you. Children in these environments experience intense inner conflict. They want connection, but it terrifies them. As adults, disorganized individuals may swing wildly between clinging and distancing. Their relationships can feel chaotic, intense, and unpredictable. They may struggle with emotional regulation, trust, and a sense of identity. Disorganized attachment is sometimes referred to as fearful avoidant, and it often requires deeper therapeutic work to heal. But here's the good news: none of these styles are destiny. Can attachment styles change? Absolutely. Our attachment style is shaped by early experiences, but it's not set in stone. Through self-awareness, healthy relationships, and sometimes therapy, we can shift toward a more secure attachment over time. In fact, psychologists call this process earned secure attachment. It happens when people with insecure styles begin to experience consistent emotional support, whether through a partner, a therapist, or even their own self-healing journey. So if you identify with anxious, avoidant, or disorganized patterns, take heart. Change is not only possible, it's common. But what does this actually look like in the real world? Think about your last serious relationship. How did you react when things got tense? Did you become clingy and need constant reassurance? Or did you shut down and need space? These are classic signs of your attachment style at play. In romantic relationships, attachment can influence everything from how we initiate intimacy, to how we argue, to how we reconcile. Anxious types may fear abandonment and seek constant contact. Avoidant types may fear engulfment and pull away. And here's where it gets tricky. We often attract the opposite style. Anxious people tend to be drawn to avoidance, and vice versa. The result, a push-pull dynamic that can feel exhilarating at first and exhausting over time. But understanding your own style and your partner's can be a game changer. It helps you respond instead of react. It helps you communicate needs clearly, and it helps you stop taking things so personally. Because sometimes, the issue isn't you. It's your nervous system trying to protect you using outdated information. Attachment isn't just about romance. It shows up at work, in friendships, even with mentors or authority figures. Do you fear disappointing others? Struggle to delegate? Feel uneasy asking for help? These might be signs that your attachment patterns are at play in your professional life too. Understanding this can help you build healthier boundaries, develop more resilient relationships, and become a more emotionally intelligent leader. So, where do we go from here? If you're curious about your own attachment style, start with gentle self-reflection. How do you handle emotional closeness? What are your biggest fears in relationships? How do you react when someone disappoints you? Then, take small steps toward healing. That might mean opening up to a trusted friend, reading a book on attachment, starting therapy, or simply being kinder to yourself when old patterns show up. Because the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. And the truth is, the more we understand our attachment style, the more we can respond with intention instead of instinct. We begin to build relationships based not on fear, but on freedom, trust, and growth. Attachment theory doesn't just explain how we relate, it explains why. It gives us a language for our inner world and a map for building stronger, healthier connections. At The Life Pulse, we believe wisdom isn't just knowing something, it's living it. And now that you know the story of your attachments, the question is, what kind of connections will you create next? Thanks for watching. If this video sparked insight, helped you feel seen, or just made you think twice about your last text message, give it a like, subscribe for more, and share it with someone you care about. Your support means a lot to us and helps us to produce more and better content. Until next time, stay curious and keep pulsing forward.